Hey guys, we are on day 17 of the challenge, but it's actually the 16th lunch that we're making because we skipped one day where we made pizza with friends. So anyway, we are going to make flatbreads with the leftover yogurt we have, flour, baking powder, and salt. It's all just those ingredients. So I'm making a double batch, and my recipe is a little different than theirs because they tell you to use Greek yogurt, and I am doing plain yogurt. So anyway, this was my homemade yogurt. So we are doing 4 scoops of flour. And the first step that we're doing is we're actually just making self-rising flour. I know down south, people use self-rising flour a lot more than people do up north, because I had never really heard of self-rising flour till we started traveling the country. And then I found out that a lot of people used it on a regular basis. Who knew? Oops, I went to the wrong spot. So self-rising flour, I'm doubling it, but it originally is 2 cups of flour. It is a tablespoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. So I'm gonna grab a tablespoon and a teaspoon from over here. Someone organized my drawers the other day. So I have nice, pretty drawers.
Ooh, cranberries for something later.
So we are gonna do
sourdough for later.
2 teaspoons of salt, because I'm doubling it. So 2 teaspoons of salt. 1, 2. Naomi, could I have? Oh, never mind. She walked away to deal with somebody. The baby has a loud toy on. Can I have a spatula? And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of baking powder. So this is just self-rising flour. You can do this part just to make self-rising flour for your house, and you can store it right in the cupboard. But then we're going to take the recipe originally calls for 1 3/4 cup of this mixture with 1 cup of yogurt, but I'm using a thinner yogurt, so we're gonna do the whole of this mixture with my about 2 cups of yogurt. And the recipe that I got is from happyhooligans.ca. But like I said, I'm not linking it because I'm not doing exactly the same, but that is where I got my inspiration for this recipe. So I'm gonna pour in most of my yogurt because my yogurt is a little over 2 cups. And I will scrape out the jar if needed. But then you just mix it up until it's what they call a shaggy dough.
Shaggy?
Shaggy. That's the
like
word
the
they
guy
use.
from Scooby-Doo?
There are words that I use in
like
cooking that Mark's like, where did that come from? Whoops! Make a little mess. Means you've been in the kitchen. Now, if anyone questions, have you been in the kitchen today? Yes, I have. Look at the flour on the counter. I was there. So, do you see how this is kind of wet still in the middle, but it's got floury parts? That's kind of the shaggy part, but I still have a bunch of flour left, so I'm going to add a little more yogurt to this. Yeah, you can start heating those. Sorry, my daughter was motioning from the background if I wanted those heated. So we're going to add just a little more because this part is shaggy. This part is not yet shaggy, so we're going to add a little more. Do you like my words?
Yeah.
And then in this recipe, if you need to, for the self-rising flour, you don't want to add too much flour, but you could always add another, 1/4 cup of flour or something if you just add too much liquid to it. Oh, Naomi, would you wash this counter in front of Daddy so I can roll these out and get the roller? It has been a little crazy morning because it is a Monday morning, which in our house means we have a lot of chores. We had a grocery haul, which you will see in a little while. Walmart brought the groceries to me. So we had to film that, and then we did our Bible. And then our daughter wrote because our grandson is starting to crawl, which is very exciting. So anyway, we're gonna mix this up, just a couple kneads. I'm seeing how many kneads it says to do. Knead into a fairly smooth ball, but do not worry if it's perfectly smooth. And they say you want to use Greek yogurt because of the consistency of it, but as you can see, this is working out fine with my not Greek yogurt. Thank you, Naomi. So then this is going to, you cut each recipe into 8 balls. So I will cut this into about 16. I'm not always perfect. So there, I have a smoothish dough. And we are getting our cast irons ready over there. We're gonna put some butter on them once they're ready, and we will cook this. So as soon as she's ready, I will get my thing. Okay, I used that dough that I spilled on the counter. We're gonna use it to just put the stuff on. I'm gonna cut this into 16 pieces, approximate pieces. It's okay if they're not exactly the same because you're cooking each one individually. So if they're a little bit different, it's not like putting them in a pan and they all have to cook at the exact same time. So just half and then half again. So that I have an idea of what I'm doing. And then you don't have to let these rise or anything. So then it's as easy as spreading out some flour. These do not have to be perfect circles. If you think about it, flatbread, naan, they call it, in some cultures, is actually usually more of a oval. I was gonna say a triangle and I knew that wasn't right. So you're just gonna spread it out so it's thin. And then we're gonna go put it on the pan in just a minute when the pan gets a little warmer. So I'll just spread out a couple more. You don't need it to be super thin because naan, whatever you wanna say, is usually a little thicker bread than like a tortilla. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna eat our leftover taco meat mixed with chili because those flavors go together okay. And we're just trying to use up our leftovers. You guys will come back in a minute when I'm actually cooking these and we will show you what we have left from this challenge. Okay, so we've made a couple. So you're looking for them to be brown and cooked on both sides. I'm giving this one another minute. I put on new ones on here. And these are the ones that have already come out. So we're going to eat them as you would like a tortilla, or the kids can pull off a piece and like pull meat like you would in like Pakistan or India, where they eat the bread, the food with their stuff. This is what we're having it with. This is,
there's chili and there's
chili on the bottom.
shredded pork.
Yeah, shredded pork that's taco meat. And then chili on the bottom. We'll mix it all up and heat it up, and that's what they're gonna eat that with. So, and then I'm just rolling, and then as they come off, I have other places. So that's lunch. We'll show you the finished product in a minute. Okay, so this is our lunch. This is our last meal of the challenge. We made it 16 days with everything that we had. I will show you what's left, but the things we added from the pantry were baking powder, salt, pepper, other spices, and at the very end we added some butter and sugar when we made the cinnamon rolls yesterday morning. So I think we did pretty good for our $315. So what did that equal out to? About less than $20 a day?
A little shy of $20 a day.
A little shy of $20 a day, and we've been spending $33 a day. That included snack almost every day. There were a few days that a different snack was, we were with people out and they provided a snack, or my mom provided a snack, but most days that included snack also. It included some desserts, it included some fun food, it included some very basic food. We learned some new recipes. Tell us below what was your favorite recipe that you learned on this, or something that you would like me to clarify, because there were some days that I didn't have much time to show the cooking. So if there's something you'd like me to clarify, let me know. You guys will be back with me in a minute and I'll show you what's left in our pantry. Okay, so I am glad that today's the last day of the challenge. We had a lot of fun doing it, but this guy is getting a tooth. And we are a little grumpy today. Yeah, so I'm glad that we're not doing more video. We love to make videos for you guys, but as a family, it's nice to have some days where I'm not videotaping every meal we're making. So anyway, I showed you guys that we made the naan bread, flatbreads, whatever you want to call them, for lunch. Those would also be used. Hey guys, turn it down. Okay, so those naan breads that I made, they were really good how we used them. You'd also be able to use them, as pizza crusts for individual pizzas. Wouldn't that be good to put pizza toppings on? So cook them like we did on the stove, and then put pizza toppings on and cook them in the oven to melt the cheese. Right?
That would be really
Would that
good
be
with the chicken curry, the Pakistani chicken curry.
Yeah,
too.
that would be really good.
That kind of bread.
So anyway, that was really good. So here's what we have left from all of the time we did. So I said we had that original $300 haul. I then added another gallon of milk and a 25-pound bag of flour. Oh, I need to bring the flour over. But here's what's left. We have half of a bag of beans. So I only used, out of 20 pounds, we had this bag plus another part of another bag. I still have 6 pounds of beans left. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of food. I've still got 3/4 of a thing of garlic, or 2/3 of a thing of garlic. I kept forgetting to use this. Can you bring the flour over? This was the sauce that I used on those pizzas, the taco pizzas. So I can throw this into any type of taco recipe that I'm gonna make. I have this much salsa left from the challenge. I have this much yogurt left. That can be eaten, but just so you know, Daddy, there's a little flour on the inside of the jar because I made the flatbreads with it. This milk,
Little bit of milk.
left, which remember when we did the milk, we also did coffee this week that was not counted for. We have that much flour left.
That's a 5-gallon bucket.
That's a 5-gallon
5
bucket.
pounds anyway?
Yeah, so we used that.
Oh yeah. A third of a 5-gallon bucket, whatever that is.
So we used that, there's probably like 10 pounds left. We also have used it today for a couple things like feeding our sourdough, and Naomi made some cookies. That was used after the challenge was over. Something that's not on the table was, as of this morning, we had about a half a cup of peanut butter left, but our breakfast this morning was from pantry stuff, so we finished off that peanut butter in our oatmeal. We have,
The vast majority of a jar.
yeah, probably 2/3 of a jar of jelly. This is potato soup from Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon.
I'll eat that later.
And then whenever we did that, and then this is rice. So this was the end of that big bag of rice. That's what's left. So that is the things. If I used some pantry ingredients, I could probably make meals out of what we have here to feed us for a couple, like 2 more meals. But we are done. We are done with the challenge. This stuff is just going into our pantry. I'm going to use it just like everyday stuff. Tonight we have guests coming, and we wanted to do something special since we've been doing this challenge for all these days. So we had been given a ham by somebody. It was one of my mom's friends. So that ham is in the crock pot, and we are making mac and cheese, which is a favorite of a couple of our children. And the people that are coming tonight have 2 kids coming with them. So mac and cheese is a hit for everybody. So we figured it was a good thing to do. And Naomi made us some cookies because we haven't been doing a lot of desserts while on this challenge. Some things I would change about the challenge, just some questions that have been asked over the time. Somebody asked me today, and just so you know, some of these questions are asked nicely. Some of them are asked meanly. If I ever react on a comment and I sound kind of, not rude, but defensive about it, it's because somebody's asked me a similar question in a nasty way. So I don't always know how to take the comments. So I'm sorry if you are asking a genuine question and I answer defensively, but it's because I've been asked questions at other times. So anyway, someone asked me today about protein. Would this be enough protein on this challenge? And for our family, it is. I served 2 pounds of meat with every lunch or supper. Like one meal was the taco or the chili. That had 2 pounds of meat in it. For our family, I don't always serve a full 2 pounds of meat at a meal like that. So that was actually more than we usually eat. And if you think about it, we have some adults in our family, which would be 4 ounces of meat, but we also have some kids in our family that don't need the full 4 ounces. So when you're getting 8 servings out of those 2 pounds, and we're putting it for 9, maybe 10 people if you include my mom, people are getting enough. Plus, with the meat, she's looking at you. Plus, with the meat of those meals, we also had the chicken and the chicken broth in the other meals, the other meal of the day. We also had cheese or yogurt or cream cheese in different meals. We ate a lot of beans. Beans have a lot of protein in them. We ate oatmeal, which oats have protein in them. There's protein in things that you don't necessarily think about. So when you count up all of those things, and also depending on what a person's protein requirements are. When I deal with gestational diabetes, I need more protein and less carbs in my diet. So if I was pregnant during this challenge, I would have been eating differently than the family because I couldn't have eaten all the carbs we ate. But this amount of carbs for our family, where our children are running around and very active, are not a problem for us. So I feel our protein needs were met with this. We could have changed some things in the challenge of having, like I mentioned another time, coconut oil instead of butter. We could have had different meat. We could have had different things. But this was foods that our family enjoys eating. Like I went into this challenge not thinking I need to make sure that have this many fruits and vegetables every day and stuff. I wanted to have a well-rounded diet with foods that we actually enjoy eating, that we appreciate. And so the kids enjoyed all the food that we had. I mean, there were a couple things, like we had tomato soup one day. I have a child who doesn't really like tomato soup. You saw that I have a child who doesn't prefer potatoes, and so a lot of days he got rice instead of his potatoes. But for the most part, the kids really enjoyed the meals that we made. We actually were able to save a lot of money because I spent, maybe if you counted up the pantry ingredients that I used another $10, maybe $15 worth of like it wasn't even that much. So we ended up spending per person less than, like, not per person. Per day, $20.
That's
And
3
so-
meals plus snacks for $20 a day for a
Right.
family.
So
of
I
10.
figured it out. If we did those 3 meals for 16 days, I don't remember the numbers right now because I did it on my calculator. And I'm not including my mom in these, which my mom eats some of our meals with us. But it ended up being less than 76 cents per serving, you know, when you average it all out.
Yeah.
So that, I think that's pretty good because you saw that we had protein. We did have fruits and vegetables. We did have, like carbs, we did have fat, like we had all the different things. Everybody was fed. Nobody felt hungry. Like I didn't have kids running around complaining of hunger. I have really hungry children. If you heard them say on a video, oh, I'm still hungry, my kids are always hungry. But nobody had like stomach aches because they were hungry. Nobody had problems with this food. We eat beans on a regular basis. So if your family is not used to eating beans, this may have been too many beans and you would need to work up to this many beans because some people have issues. But usually if you eat beans on a regular basis, your body does not have these problems with beans that people who don't usually eat beans and then go eat a bean heavy meal have.
I was going to say for the fruits and vegetables, one like apples, orange, clementines, bananas, aplenty here, and you bought colored peppers and all kinds of different vegetables for this coming week.
Yeah. So yes, while we ate a little bit differently on the challenge, we didn't eat super different from what we normally eat. We like to have fruits and vegetables when we have a chance. But our family also right now is reading about the Great Depression. We're reading about World War II. And in those wars, people didn't have choices. They were like, we are having toast for breakfast because that's what we have.
We are incredibly blessed.
We are incredibly blessed. And it made me think, it just kind of depends on your outlook or your perspective on what you're doing. Because there were people who struggled through the war. I mean, everybody struggled through the Great Depression and war. I'm not saying anyone had it like easy. But there were people who struggled more because they looked at it as, I'm deprived of this. And there were people who struggled less because they said, okay, there's a challenge set before me and I'm going to rise to this challenge and I'm going to make this work. And so it's interesting to see people's perspectives. And then as a mom, just an encouragement that you are setting that perspective for your children. And so are you finding yourself in a tight place of we only have this much till the next paycheck? Are you saying, oh, no, guys, we can't have that. No, we can't have that. Oh, we're going to make this drudgery. Or are you going to say, hey, guys, we need to finish off the leftovers in the fridge. Let's find a fun way to do that. Maybe we could do a picnic under the table today. How does that sound? Let's get all of our food and let's take it outside and have a picnic outside. Let's serve our food buffet style instead of how you normally serve it at the table. Maybe it's, hey guys, let's try to find some new recipes that we really enjoy because we have, we have these things in the house that we should use up before we go buy more food. Instead of making it drudgery for your kids, take it as a challenge as a mom to make this a time that your kids are going to remember. Because I have things that I remember with my sister, but how cool would it be for your kids to look back and say, hey, do you remember that time that mom let us have that picnic with all those little leftovers that we had and thought that it was super fun? We had a time that we were with friends and we had a whole bunch of leftovers. So we gave every leftover a number and everything, including like your fork and stuff, a number. And the kids had to pick which 3 things they wanted at each course. And so sometimes you might get your knife and peas and Jell-O, and that's what you got. And the kids still remember that game. That was 15 years ago. The kids still remember that game. And the reason we did it was because we had a bunch of random leftovers in the fridge and we knew certain people would fight about not getting certain things. And we had a bunch of kids. It was us and another family. We had a bunch of kids, and so everyone got a small portion of spaghetti, and everyone got a small portion of Jell-O, and it was really fun. And it's something that they still talk about. So,
interesting fact about the whole bunch of kids. We have more children living in our home by ourselves than the 2 of the families did.
It seemed like a lot of kids at the time.
A lot of kids at the time. It was like 6.
But anyway, it was really fun. So as a mom, I challenge you to make things fun for your kids. Look at life and maybe the harder circumstances that you're dealt, look at them as, how is God teaching me right now? And how can I make this time, not just we're surviving through this time, but how as a family can we thrive during this time? Also, I know a lot of people who are kind of just waiting for the next season of life to really start living. Like, okay, well, once I know this happens with me in pregnancy. I get to a point that it's kind of like, okay, well, once the baby comes, we can do whatever. Well, there's no point of sitting around the last 2 months of pregnancy not doing anything because you're waiting for the baby to come, because the baby's going to come when the baby comes. There's nothing you're going to do. And so instead of drudging through those times, making it, what can we do now that we don't have to wait for tomorrow to do? What can we do at this moment? And so looking at your food challenges in that way. If you need help with food, there are food pantries and food stamps and that stuff available. So I'm not saying that people should just not feed their kids and just eat toast. I'm not saying that. But making eating enjoyable. That's what I'm saying. So I hope you guys liked this challenge. If there's anything that we can help you with, if we forgot to tell you how to do something, I will be making a yogurt recipe. I don't know when that's going to come out. But if there's something that I didn't give full information on, or you're struggling with a certain thing, like, hey, someone just showed up with, 50 pounds of apples. What are things I can do with that? I'd love to tell you some ideas of things to do with those, because we've had that before. We've lived in places where we weren't getting a lot of money. This is how God worked through us working in ministry. There were times that we weren't getting a lot of money and we were given food, and I had to figure out what to do with it. And out of the kindness of their hearts, people gave us food, and we got corn dogs and sausage gravy.
Yep.
So anyway, let us know if you enjoyed this challenge, if you would like to see more ways that we use food. We're just trying to help people think of a new perspective of how to enjoy the food that they have, right? But I'm going to go deal with this little guy while we make the rest of the mac and cheese. Oh, did you have something else?
Come back for the rest of the Cultivating a Biblical Home series.
Oh, yes. We have that series still going on, the Cultivating a Biblical Home. And
we have some homeschool videos coming.
Yes. I want to make the next set of videos I'm going to be making is more of a perspective of how we do homeschooling. We don't do typical curriculum schooling. We do a lot of what are the kids interested in and how can we make that a fun thing to learn. So right now we're learning about presidents and government because next week is the inauguration, but how to take things from your everyday life that your kids might be interested in and how to make it into a school lesson. And just so you know, it's not by sitting down and writing a lesson plan. So come back for those. And another thing,
if you enjoy our videos,
if you enjoy our videos, like and subscribe and share them. If you found that this series was helpful in using the food that you already had in the house, please share this video because you may have friends that are having those struggles too. And we're
playlists with a ton of other food challenges.
There's
too.
playlists and stuff. We just want to be able to help. That's what we want to do. We have this channel because we want to be able to help people. So let us know how we can help you. And we will see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.